Riyad as-Salihin is a selection of hadith compiled by Imam Yahya ibn Sharaf and an-Nawawi. It is one of the most widely known and read books of hadith all over the world, containing approximately 1,900 carefully chosen hadith on ethics, manners, worship, knowledge, and other topics compiled from the 6 books of hadith. It is practical and accessible to Muslims of all levels. The Book of Good Manners. Chapter, Excellence of Conveying Glad Tidings and Congratulations. Chapter, Excellence of Conveying Glad Tidings and Congratulations. Abdullah bin Abu Ifa, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, Messenger of Allah, give glad tidings to Khadija, may Allah be pleased with her, about a palace of hollowed pearls in Jannah, free from noise and toil. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, one day, I performed my wudu in my house and then set forth with the determination that I would stick to Messenger of Allah, and spend the whole day with him. I came to the mosque and asked about him. The companions told that he had gone in a certain direction. Abu Musa added, I followed him inquiring until I came to Bir Aris, a well in the suburb of Al-Madinah. There, I sat down at the door till he had relieved himself and performed wudu. Then I went to him and saw him sitting on the platform of the well with his shanks uncovered and his legs dangling in the well. I greeted him and returned to the door of the garden, saying to myself, I will be the doorkeeper of the Messenger of Allah today. Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, came and knocked at the door. I said, who is that? He said, Abu Bakr. I said, wait a moment. Then I went to the Messenger of Allah, and said, O Messenger of Allah, Abu Bakr is at the door seeking permission to enter. He said, admit him and give him the glad tidings of Jannah. I returned and said to Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, you may enter and Messenger of Allah has given you the glad tidings of entering Jannah. Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, came in and sat down on the right side of Messenger of Allah, and suspended his legs into the well and uncovered his shanks, as the Messenger of Allah had done. I returned to the door and sat down. I had left my brother at home while he was performing wudu and intending to join me. I said to myself, if Allah intends good for him, i.e., to be blessed to come at this time and receive the glad tidings of entering Jannah, he will bring him here. Someone knocked at the door and I said, who is it? He said, Umar bin al-Khattab. I said, wait a moment. Then I proceeded towards Messenger of Allah. I greeted him and said, Umar is at the door, seeking permission to enter. He said, let him in and give him the glad tidings of entering Jannah. I went back to Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, and said to him, Messenger of Allah has given you permission as well as glad tidings of entering Jannah. He entered and sat down with Messenger of Allah, on his left side and dangled his feet into the well. I returned to the door and sat down and said to myself, if Allah intends good for my brother, he will bring him here. Someone knocked at the door and I said, who is it? He said, Uthman bin Affan. I said, wait a moment. I went to Messenger of Allah, and informed him about his arrival. He said, let him in and give him glad tidings of entering Jannah together with a tribulation which he will have to face. I came back to him and said, you may enter, and Messenger of Allah gives you the glad tidings of entering Jannah together with a tribulation that will afflict you. He got in and saw that the elevated platform round the well was fully occupied. So he sat on opposite side. Sa'id bin al-Musayyab, may Allah be pleased with him, a sub-narrator has reported, the order in which they sat down indicated the places of their burial. Another narration adds, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, may Allah be pleased with him, said, the Prophet ordered me to guard the door. When Uthman was told about the misfortune, he praised Allah then said, Allah who must have his help is to be sought. The interpretation of Sa'id bin al-Musayyab is that the graves of Abu Bakr and Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, are by the side of the Prophet, in the same position they took when they sat next to the Prophet, while the grave of Uthman is away from their graves, in the public graveyard of al-Madinah known as Baqi al-Gharqad.
Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, "We were sitting in the company of the Messenger of Allah, and Abu Bakr and Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, were also present. All of a sudden the Messenger of Allah got up and left us. When he was late to return to us we began to worry lest he should meet with trouble in our absence. I was the first to be alarmed and set out in search of him until I came to a garden belonging to Banu Najjar, a section of the Ansar. I went round it looking for an entrance, but failed to find one. However, I saw a stream of water flowing into the garden from a well outside. I drew myself together like a fox and slinked into the place and reached the Messenger of Allah. He said, 'Is it Abu Huraira?' I replied in the affirmative. He asked, 'What is the matter with you?' I replied, 'You were sitting with us and then you left us and delayed for a time. Fearing you had met with some adversities we got alarmed. I was the first to be alarmed. So when I came to this garden, I squeezed myself like a fox and these people are coming behind me.' He, the Prophet, gave me his sandals and said, 'O Abu Huraira, take these sandals of mine, and whoever you meet outside this garden testifying that La ilaha illallah, there is no true God except Allah, being assured of it in his heart, give him the glad tidings that he will enter Jannah.'" Abu Huraira then narrated the hadith in full. Ibn Shumasa reported, "We visited Amr bin al-As, may Allah be pleased with him, when he was in his deathbed. He wept for a long time and turned his face towards the wall. His son said, 'O father, did not the Messenger of Allah give you the good news of such and such? Did he not give you glad tidings of such and such?' Then he, Amr, turned his face towards us and said, 'The best thing which you can count upon is the affirmation that, La ilaha illallah, there is no true God except Allah, and that Muhammad is the Messenger of Allah. I have passed through 3 phases. I remember when I hated none more than I hated the Messenger of Allah, and there was no other desire stronger in me than that of killing him. Had I died in that state, I would have definitely been one of the dwellers of fire, hell. When Allah instilled the love for Islam in my heart, I went to Messenger of Allah, and said, 'Extend your right hand, so that I pledge allegiance to you.' He stretched out his right hand, but I withdrew my hand. He said, 'What is the matter, Amr?' I said, 'I wish to lay down same conditions.' He asked, 'What conditions do you wish to put forward?' I replied, 'To be granted forgiveness.' He said, 'Do you not know that, embracing Islam wipes out all that has gone before it, previous misdeeds? Verily, emigration wipes out all the previous sins, and the Hajj, pilgrimage, wipes out all the previous sins. Thereafter, no one was dearer to me than Messenger of Allah, and none was more respectable than him in my eyes. So bright was his splendor that I could not gather enough courage to look at his face for any length of time. If I were asked to describe his feature, I would not be able to do so because I have never caught a full glimpse of his face. Had I died in that state I could have hoped to be one of the dwellers of Jannah. Thereafter, we were made responsible for many things and in the light of which I am unable to know what is in store for me.
When I die, no mourner, nor fire should accompany my bier. When you bury me, throw the earth gently over me and stand over my grave for the space of time within which a camel is slaughtered and its meat is distributed, so that I may enjoy your intimacy, and in your presence ascertain what answer can I give to the messengers of my Rabb, the angels in grave,